there's been so many cool rumors that have come out and stuff that Canon's currently doing that it's definitely worth talking about.
Yeah, but let's also be honest. Some of this stuff just sounds like complete crap, right? Like it's not. There's no way all of this is even remotely possible.
We have so many more Canon, more believable rumors.
We'll see. So let's go through these next couple Canon rumors. We'll go through them a little bit faster.
Yes.
And chat, we want you to tell us, what do you think about some of these crazy rumors, and which one do you think are actually realistic? Which ones do you think we'll actually see this year? And heck, I mean, we're dreaming, right?
Absolutely.
So let us know if something's not on the list. What do you want to see this year?
Yes.
All right, Jarrell, let's pull up the next one.
Yeah, so the next one is the R5C Mark II.
Ooh.
Now, here's the interesting part with this one. It's going to have all of the same features of the R5 Mark II, but it's going to have built-in active cooling, like kind of like the fan module that we had on the R5. And so, with the hopes of less overheating and longer run times. So, I also feel like they would need to improve battery life, especially on their cinema menus. Like, do not just bring a ported cinema menu onto an R5 Mark II. But 45 megapixels, digic accelerator processing, dual pixel autofocus, eye control, 8K 60 RAW, 4K 60 SRAW, up to 30 frames, pre-continuous shooting modes, and say built-in active cooling.
Yeah, you know what? When I look at the R5C, because I bought the R5C, loved it when it first came out. When the announcement of it came out, I was really excited about it, but there were definitely problems with that camera. And I actually bought it right before NAB last year. So I took it with me to NAB. I went to Canon's booth, and I spent like a solid hour and a half at their booth, just grilling them about this camera, how to make it better, all the issues that I was running into. And yeah, we got software updates to actually make the camera better. But the problem that I still kept running into that I just could never really get a solid solution on was battery life. And sure, they had the whole Anchor collaboration where it was like, oh, use an Anchor battery, because that was the other issue with the camera, was certain features you had to externally power the camera in order to be able to fully take advantage of everything that the camera could do. Add in the fact that the Canon, LP batteries lasted maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes inside the camera when rolling. You could put a R5
for the cinema mode, yeah.
For the cinema, well, that's the only way to shoot video, was in cinema, right? You then throw on they didn't make an actual battery grip for that camera. They just said that the R5 battery grip would work on it. So that gave you 2 more batteries. It extended your battery life. I don't even feel like it was fully double, even though I was putting 2 batteries in there. But it did give you a little bit better battery life. But man, I was chewing through batteries. And so if they are going to bring us a R5C Mark II at this point, the number one concern that I think they have to fix is battery life. That is by far the number one biggest thing they need to fix. And then from there, if they give us some extra improvements, I'll take them. But if it doesn't come with a substantial battery improvement, I think it's a waste. I think it's a non-starter.
Yeah, I think for me, the R5C felt like we had overheating issues with the R5, and this could be wrong, but it felt like we had R5 overheating issues, and R5s were on the shelf. Now, they obviously fixed it with firmware upgrades, but it felt like, hey, we have all these R5 parts, let's make a camera. So it felt like a reaction.
Yeah.
Where now you had years, 3-4 years, to create a perfect hybrid camera, true hybrid camera. So hopefully it addresses all of those things.
Yeah, the only concern that I have with the R5C getting a version 2, which, I mean, this would be fantastic if they do give it to us, is I'm wondering, is that the right body for a hybrid cinema
we need
camera?
a 1RC.
And that's what I keep going back to, because when you look at the R1, the R3, even even the 1DC back in the day, it used the 1DX body type. and it was a better battery solution, a bigger unit, and I think you could do some stuff with cooling that
Hmm.
was a little bit better. Now, granted, with the new R5 Mark II that just came out, they did introduce a new grip that has basically the fan built into it. So maybe
Hmm.
there is a way for them to do this where it's, it makes sense and it's gonna work, and it won't overheat.
Yeah.
But dude, they gotta fix the battery issue. And that to me is a absolute must before they do anything else. And I'm honestly more so open to them switching away from the R5 body type to a bigger 1DC or R1C type body type. That's just my opinion. But, who am I?
Absolutely, because I feel like the R3 and the R1 are lighter than the 1DX Mark II series, was, and the 1DX Mark III. And so even though it's bigger, I think because of its weight reduction, it's worth it.
Yeah. Now, I absolutely love this comment coming in from Anthony. What's up, brother? He says that the R5C was Canon's reaction to Sony having a FX3 and FX30. And you know
Mm.
what? That does make a lot of sense. I think it was, you know, having some type of a cinema camera in that realm, I think makes sense for Canon. And ironically, with the 1DC, they got there early, but it was way too expensive.
Yeah.
And even with the R5C, that's even still too expensive. So I think if Canon does want to compete with a FX3 and an FX30, if they're going to play in that price range, the camera's got to come like ready to go. And I think that's one of the reasons why when you look at like the FX3 and the FX30, they're just built really well. They
Hmm.
do their job very well, but they don't really stretch. Like you think about it, it doesn't have it doesn't have 8K, it doesn't have like its own cinema menus or anything like that. Like it's running the same OS as like the A7 A7 series cameras.
Hmm.
So like and like they're just now starting to add in little things like shutter angle and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to see, like, I mean, obviously I'm here for the fight. I want to see the brands compete against each other, one get better to push the next one to get better. But yeah, I think an R5C Mark II, there's a few things they're gonna have to fix on that camera specifically. And with it being a Mark II, it better come correct. And
Yes.
it seems like they know what they're doing because the R5 Mark II looks like the right step.
Yep.
But, let's see what an R5C Mark II looks like. That'd be really sick.
Yeah, that feels strange to me that was what they were competing with, considering how good the FX3 and the FX30 is. Like its size, its battery, its features. Like it kind of felt like with the battery life of the R5C, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like limited.
Yeah.
So
All right, you ready for the next one?
absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Next one coming up is potentially an R7 Mark II. Now, the actual like specs that we could find on it, there's only two things that we could find that seem like they were somewhat legitimate. And it's going to be a new stacked APS-C sensor, so faster readout times, which the camera's already pretty fast, so going to help a lot with sports and wildlife, and potentially bumping it up to 40 frames per second in photos.
Yeah, I actually love the R7. Actually, I have one here, and I use it for a lot of like top-down stuff. And like, yeah, it's APS-C, but like, there are so many amazing features built into that camera. I mean, it literally is like a R6,
Hmm.
but just in a cropped sensor. So you're gonna save quite a bit of money on it, but it works as far as like video phenomenally. And as far as photography goes, like you mentioned before, when it comes to things like sports or wildlife, birds or whatever, like having that extra little bit of reach on your lenses actually goes a really long way.
Hmm.
And so, of all of Canon's cameras that have like come out that have like, I know they've had a lot of problems with stuff, and I'm not talking about the newest releases, not the R1 or the R5 II, because I haven't accessed those. But of most of Canon's cameras that have come out, the R7 continues to be for me a champion for Canon. It's a very easy, like, hey, I'm trying to get my first camera. What should I get? Or hey, I'm looking for a secondary camera. The R7 just always feels like a no brainer because the battery life is
1,400
good.
bucks.
I mean, $1,400, you're getting the newer battery life. Because like, I really would like to recommend the R8 for a lot of people because it's full frame, but it's kind of limited on what it can do from the internals, and that lower battery life like it uses the smaller battery, makes it a tough camera to say, oh, you can buy this and upgrade within your Canon journey and take everything with you, because you can't. Like,
Mhm.
as we talked about last week, like that Canon battery has been like standing the test of time
Oh, yeah.
since like the 5D Mark One or Mark II days.
Yeah.
So like to be able to take that same battery and level up as you go, and to take something like an R7 and upgrade to an R6 or to an R5 and know that it's going to run with you, I'm absolutely all here for it. The only spec that we haven't talked about when it comes to these Canon cameras, that like when we're talking about rumors, I know we're talking about like the sensor and what can it do and the processor and you know all that stuff. But I have a request going forward for all Canon cameras
Mhm.
when it comes to, if you are going to upgrade a Canon camera from this point forward, if you're not coming with a full-size HDMI, don't even release the camera. Don't even release the camera.
I think that you would be. Oh, what does the Z6 Mark III have?
Full size.
I feel like anything less than $2,500, you should fully expect micro.
No. I'm sorry. I will not. I'm not.
You think that the R7 and the R8's gonna get a full size HDMI?
I'm not asking for 4K raw out of it.
You're the unicorn. You're the unicorn spec.
I'm just saying, just give us full size HDMI out.
I'm not saying that I don't want it. I'm saying it would be an incredible idea. Bro, they've been rocking with that micro HDMI since the beginning of time, bro.
Because they had too many parts in the bin, bro. I'm saying just get rid of the parts in the bin. Let's go full size and let's be done with it.
My 1DX doesn't have full size HDMI.
And how old is that camera? Let's step into the future.
It's old.
Listen to me. Look, don't listen to Drew.
They thought micro HDMI was professional.
I'm taking the camera. Canon, look at me.
Scoot back, you're out of focus.
I am the captain now. You hear me? Canon, focus right here. Full size HDMI. That's all we want. Don't give us anything else. Full size HDMI on every camera going forward. Make the camera an extra $100. I don't care.
Make it an extra. No, get that off of Temu, Canon.
Yeah, if you gotta
get the full size off of Temu.
If you gotta get the full size off of Temu, we'll take it for those cheap cameras. But full size HDMI, let's go. Good night.
Temu. Alrighty.
All right, you ready for the next story?
We've got one off the beaten path.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't even know how to. I'll just let you go because this is dumb.
This is not dumb.
This is dumb.
Not every camera was made for you, Brandon.
You're right. But chat, tell me if this ain't dumb.
This is a wearable camera. Okay, this is a patent for a wearable camera. I'm gonna call it the snake camera. The Canon Snake.
This is the Canon Snake Cam.
This is not for vloggers. This is not for filmmakers. This is for industrial use. So imagine you are on a factory line or you're repairing some sort of piece of equipment. This has a laser indicator to show the point of focus to ensure that you're in the right area of the frame. So basically, your supervisors want to know that you're doing the right stuff. Maybe they'll put this on you as you're editing videos, and they can make sure you're using the right shortcuts.
Dude, this is like Big Brother to the next level. You know what? As I was saying that, you know who's gonna wear this camera?
Police officers?
No. They run too much. It'll fall off. They got to have something like a strong magnet hooked onto them.
People will be like, "What's around your neck, bro?"
You know who's gonna wear this camera? I can tell you I know exactly who's wearing this camera. You ready?
Yeah.
The humanoid robots are gonna wear these cameras. Yes. The cheap ones. Right? Because the good ones are gonna have cameras in their face, but the cheap ones, they're gonna have these on when they're replacing us. So it's gonna be like one human sitting in a room looking at a bunch of walls of footage, and they're gonna be like, that robot is not performing well enough. Let's do a software update on robot number 65. That's who's gonna win. Dude, this thing, I'm sorry.
The Temu robots.
This is a wild style camera. Let us know. Okay, some of y'all are putting stuff in the chat I cannot bring up. But somebody said this is about to be as dumb as the new VR lenses. Yeah, well, hey, we got
No, that's too low. That's too low. This is way dumber.
This yeah, no, this
VR
is
might be the future. Who knows?
okay, I like RJs. For motorcyclists, this could be cool. But I just feel like we already have solutions for this. Like, this is GoPro, right? Like, hasn't GoPro been like I mean, they didn't perfect drones, we know that much, right? So they have been perfecting wearable cameras for a minute.
Dude, the size of that battery could be so large.
For what reason? The whole snake is the battery. Oh man.